Hey there guys, I am SonicGhost and today I'm going to be showing you how to record from your standard definition consoles. This video will be going over how to record from consoles that can output a composite or S-video signal. So this video is perfect if you want to go ahead and record from a Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2, Super Nintendo, basically any system that can output in a composite or S-video signal. Now a couple years ago when I first started to make these Let's Play videos on YouTube, I actually made some videos showing how I used to record from my standard definition consoles, and those videos are outdated since I don't use those same kind of setups anymore. I actually use a different kind of setup and different kind of recording equipment. But if you want to go ahead and look at those old videos, the link will be down in the description below to these videos, and you should be seeing those videos on screen as well if you're interested in checking out any of these old tutorials I made about recording from standard definition systems. Because who knows, maybe these old tutorials can actually help you out, because maybe that'll be for your setup, since everyone's setup for this will be different. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at how I record from my standard definition consoles. Okay, so now we're going to be taking a look at how I record from my standard definition consoles. This here is the Diamond VC500. Now this capture device I use from time to time to record from any kind of composite, which is the yellow cable, or S-video output, which is this black cable. So I mainly use this capture device to record from my Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, NES, and GameCube from time to time. So how this would work is you would take your cord from your N64, for example, which is used that console, so this is an S-video cord for that system. Also, it's composite, so we'll take the composite first. We'll just pretend you don't have S-video at all. Just forget that's there. So here is your composite. You get your yellow cable, which this one's a little bit more orange, to be honest. But this is your yellow composite video, and then you have your standard audio. So you can easily just plug those in to the respective ports on the capture device itself. And if you did have S-video, then you would just plug that into the S-video port, and you wouldn't even bother with this composite. You would just take that off. So that's how I would have my device set up. But say now you want to go ahead and play this on your television, because when you plug into here, there's no way for you to output the picture from your capture device onto the television. There's no output like the Ligand reportable I showed you earlier has. So what you want to go ahead and do is you want to go ahead and plug this into a splitter, basically. So we'll unplug this from the capture device, and this here is what I'll be using. So this is a splitter for a composite cable. So this is a 1 female to 2 female splitter. So how I would have this set up is I would plug in each one of these cords into their splitter here. Then once these cords are all set up into the splitters, then I would just plug each one of these cables into the splitter. Now I have my picture being sent out to the television using this composite cable. So then I would take another composite cable. So this here is a double-ended composite cable. I would take this and plug it into my splitters again. So we'll just take the red to red, white to white, and yellow to yellow. Once we get this cord here all set up into these splitters, as you can see now it's one giant mess, but we have this cable here to plug into our capture device. So we'll just plug these ports into these cords, just like so. And now with that done, I'm actually sending the signal from my one cord here, which was going from the Nintendo 64. We're taking this one signal and we are pushing it out to both the television and the capture device at the same time. So that's how you play without any kind of input delay. As some of these kind of standard definition capture devices do have a nasty input delay. I used one years ago that actually had a 2-second input delay, so you do want to have these splitters. And these things are dirt cheap. Like when I bought my splitters, they were like maybe $1 a piece, so they're not expensive at all. But this is what I do. This is how I record from this stuff. So let's go ahead and unplug all this stuff and start from scratch. So now, with everything unplugged, I want to go ahead and take 2 of these splitters and get rid of them. I don't need them. I only need the one. So what I do is I don't even need a second cable like this. So we'll get rid of this cable as well. Now that's out of the equation. So what I do is I take the composite cord and I plug it into here. So I got the one splitter hooked up to the composite cable, then I take the other cord that's going to the television and plug it in here, because I don't use composite for recording. Unless I have to, I use S-Video for all my recordings and the composite to be sent out to my television. So now with that set, I want to go ahead and plug my S-Video cord into the capture device. But now, before we plug in the audio cables, I want to go ahead and plug them into something different, because if I just plug these cables directly into my capture device, due to my setup, there is some ground noise that comes into the capture device. So when I listen back to the audio being recorded from this, you'll hear some static, and I don't want any of that. So what I did was I went out and I got myself one of these. This is an RCA filter that will actually reduce the ground noise coming from these RCA cables. So I would plug in my two cables here from my system, plug them into the respective ports, so right to right and left to left, and then when I have that done, I'll just take the outputting cables here and plug these into my capture device. This device here allows me to get the cleanest audio possible from my older systems. So it's a little bit of a setup, as you can see. I got one video port here being used, just one extra cable being sent out to my television, so I don't have any kind of input delay. Then I have the S-Video just going in directly, because I don't really need to worry about that. I just record from that signal, and I don't need to split it, getting the cleanest picture I can from this console. And then when I isolate the noise, I get the cleanest sounding audio that I can from these older systems. So it's a little bit of a setup, as you can see, but it is worth it in the end. So that's how I have my setup for my older consoles. Now as for the software I use for the Diamond card, I don't use their included software because I don't like their included software whatsoever for the Diamond. To me, it's honestly pretty bad. So what I use is I use a software called Amarek TV. Now this software allows me to record in AVI lossless format, so I get the best picture I can from this standard definition capture device. And I can also use it to de-interlace the picture. If you are unfamiliar what de-interlacing is, basically these older systems are outputting into interlaced video, and our newer televisions and our computers do not output in that kind of video format. They're in progressive scan. So when you take interlaced picture and put it onto a progressive scan screen, you're just going to get a bunch of lines and it's going to look very nasty. So I use Amarek to actually de-interlace the picture to remove those lines and get the cleanest picture I can from it. It's not the perfect solution, but it's the best de-interlacing method that I found to use at the current moment. So that is what I use to record from my standard definition setup. As you can see, and as you heard, it is a bit of a setup, but it's worth it to me as I do get the best kind of picture quality possible from my older system. So this is how I will record from all of my standard definition consoles. And there you have it. That is how I record from my standard definition consoles. Now if you have any questions about my setup for this, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I should be able to help you out with that, no problem. Now my setup for the standard definition consoles will always be changing, and I know that not everyone's setup will be the same, so this is how I record from my standard definition systems today. And like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want to go ahead and take a look at how I used to record from my standard definition consoles, the link will be down in the description below to some videos that showcase how I used to do this. So with that said, I hope you all found this video helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.